I just want to really quickly show how I make a magic ring, which I think is the easiest way to do, and now I love making magic rings. If you learn to crochet the Woobles way, all you have to do is get into crochet position. So the yarn goes between your pinky and your ring finger, go behind your pinky, and then in front again. Bring it to the back, go behind the other 3 fingers on your hand, and this is how you would normally set up your crochet. Ready to crochet. To start the magic ring, you want to go in front of your first 2 fingers, your first and your middle finger, go behind that middle finger, and then bring it in front of your middle finger again and cross the yarn over the working yarn. Hold that X down with your thumb, and then we're going to take your hook. You want to put it under the yarn that's on top of your finger. You want to put it over the yarn that's coming from the yarn ball, so your working yarn. Pull up a loop. Then you just need to make a chain. So yarn over, pull through that, and that's the start of your magic circle. Now I like to keep the ring on my finger while I'm doing my crochets, my single crochets, to make the rest of the magic ring, because I found that it is easier to get into the circle while you're holding it, and it keeps your stitches really straight. Whereas if you are holding it this way, I found that my stitches start to spiral, which is not what I want. So if you keep it on your finger, hold down the tail end of the yarn against the ring, and then for your first stitch, or for all of your stitches, you want to go into that space that you make. If you pull up on the yarn, you can see there's a little triangle space. So you're going to go into that triangle, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and there's your first single crochet. Now I like to keep this one really loose, so I'm actually going to do it again, because when you start doing your first row, you want it to be, or your first row after your magic circle, you want it to be, that first stitch to be really kind of looser. Otherwise it's really hard to get into that first stitch. So I'm going to keep that just a little bit looser than you normally would. And again, you go into that triangle space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over again, pull through both loops on the hook, and now you can see that is a loose stitch there, which is great. That's exactly what I want. So then you're going to do the rest of your stitches. So if your pattern calls for 6, it's 2, it's 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now you can take your finger out of the ring, keep the yarn tail how it is. I know it looks like it's kind of twisted around, and you want, my instinct is to take it out to keep it nice and straight and clean. But what that actually does, if you end up having to rip this out and start over, it will create a knot if you pull it out. So keep it right where it is. You want to hold this last loop here, not like pinch it tight, but hold the front of it, and then take the yarn tail and just pull all the way through until it closes. So now there's no gap in the middle. Then your first stitch for the next row is going to go in this V right here. And that's why I like to keep it loose, because if you tighten it, this gets very difficult to get your hook into, because it will tighten up a little bit when you pull that loop closed, or when you pull that ring closed. So I'm going to go into that first stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. And since I like to do my amigurumi in rounds, and joined rounds instead of just a single spiral, I'm just going to make this a slip stitch. And that's all there is to it. If you are working with your rows and you find that after doing a few stitches this starts to open up again, that's okay. All you have to do is hold the ring, pull on that yarn tail again, and it's going to close right up again. that's it. I hope this helped.